Hey everyone, and welcome to GamesRadar's Game Club for Beyond Good and Evil. This is episode 1 and our first kind of go at this thing. It's been done in the past, but we're doing it. We're giving it our own treatment, our own try. I am your host, Hollander Cooper.
I'm Sophia Tong.
Alex Roth.
Lorenzo Valoria.
And I'm Clint Merritt.
Yeah, and some of us are playing through Beyond Good and Evil for the first time. We're essentially doing like a book club, Oprah book club. We're all going to sit around, talk about our feelings, except instead of talking about like 50 Shades of Grey, we're going to talk about, though we can talk about that later.
Nobody reads that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about video games because, I mean, screw books. So Beyond Good and Evil was the first one, came out in 2003 for pretty much everything, and yet in this room, I don't know if any of us have actually played it or at least beat it. I didn't, because 2003 was a weird period where I was essentially a GameCube fanboy, and I jumped into PC. Like, I always had a gaming PC, but I kind of jumped back into like hardcore PC gaming right around the holiday season of that year, so I just missed it entirely. And I know it came out for it, but that's a controller kind of game in my mind. So what's your excuse?
My excuse? Well, it's funny because I always looked at it as some kind of Xbox release, but I had a PlayStation 2, I had a GameCube, and I was playing a lot of GameCube back then, as you were, and also a lot of PC games. So for some reason, that just flew under my radar. I just, I've heard of the game, and the only reason I was interested in it is because everyone raves about it, says it's like one of the best games they've ever played. But just never picked it up until they decided to do the remake, the HD version, and then I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait until the HD version comes out. I've had it. I still didn't play it.
Downloaded it immediately and never booted it up.
I know, it's like, I own it. I just haven't played it yet. But no, this is a great idea, and I'm really excited to play through it. So far, it's so good.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I just saw the box art, and it just didn't really strike me. And I remember seeing,
Honesty
I saw like a camera in her hand, and I just kept thinking like Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Snap. Like,
if I would have felt Pokemon Snap, I would have bought it immediately.
Yeah, I did not want to take pictures, and the title struck me as a little pretentious, and all the praise that it was getting kind of
You're like, oh, it's one
went
of
in
those
with that.
games.
I was like, oh, art. I didn't even think there would be combat in it, but and then I just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think I even remember seeing the box or even taking a glance at it.
Ubisoft didn't do a great job promoting it.
Well, I mean, your sidekick's also a pig.
Yeah,
You're like, what?
There's like an animal side character guy, a chick with a camera, and I probably just went right to like Halo and like bought that so I could play with my dorm buddies. But it's cool. I played, the first hour. I totally didn't expect, I didn't expect there to be combat at all. And I was like, well, she's got a staff and like she's doing backflips and stuff. I thought she was supposed to be a reporter taking pictures. You do that too, but like I really didn't expect that kind of gameplay, more like the Zelda style gameplay and stuff. But I'm having a good time with it. And well, if I looked at it before, like when it first came out, I probably would have really enjoyed it a lot more because it's kind of an old game now.
Yeah. So.
I think it just kind of slipped past me. I think I was playing Wind Waker for a long time. I remember watching my little brother play this game, and he really enjoyed it, but it just kind of didn't register with me, so I just kind of skipped it by. And I actually, too, a friend was moving out, and I bought the GameCube copy from him, and I still have not looked at it.
How sad. It didn't sell very well. That's another thing.
It didn't. But thankfully, it has an HD remake, and we're finally making an excuse for all of us to play it. And now that we have started playing it, let's go reverse order. What's your favorite part about the game so far?
So far, I think the coolest part was when I wandered into a cave that I wasn't really supposed to, but I was trying to make it to the Black Isles, and I'm like, oh, maybe I can go this way. And then it was like a looter's den, so they stole 100 credits or whatever from me, and I had to chase them down and shoot them. You had to dodge lasers and beat a spark that closes doors.
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I was like, I totally missed that.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was
we all find
shooting
out
at
he's
him.
been playing Halo. Yeah, the shield is so Cortana. So
No, it's just the power of my imagination.
So, all right, Looter's Den. What about you?
My favorite part. We talked about this before, but the part where Mr. De Castellac's assistant reveals himself to be some kind of secret agent for the rebellion.
Iris?
Yeah, for the Iris
And
rebellion.
for people who, if you aren't actually playing it or you're not, we just played past Black Isles, and that's right when you find out about you're starting to find out about the Iris rebel organization, and Jade decides officially she's going to join with them. So we're only one dungeon in,
right.
And you find this guy.
And
he's in a I guess almost like a Cadillac, but like a limo.
He's in a limo that looks super pristine and cool and stuff, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna reveal myself now, and the top opens up, and he comes out sitting in the driver's seat of a cab, which is sitting in the driver's seat of the limo, lifts out into the air and says, "This is me."
Yeah.
It's like those Russian dolls that like all nest.
Yeah.
He's a Russian stacking doll, except
Yeah.
limos and taxis.
He's going to be in an even smaller car by the time we
I hope so.
And then like a bike.
And I think you were pointing out the fact that like Paige, like the pig character, is like
Yeah.
the size of that
Yeah,
taxi, and then you ride in that taxi.
He just jumps in the back and it's like clown car.
Ain't no thing.
Yeah.
What about you?
Paige is my favorite part.
Just in
like,
general?
He's just like such a great like companion character. Like his attitude and personality is so suited to, you know, being your sidekick. You know, he's always like helpful, you know, like when he gets that wrench so he can dismantle the gates that are in your way in that first dungeon, and he's like, you know, careful, expert coming through. He's like so proud of himself, you know, and like very like helpful to you, and like I'm thinking maybe a little bit dim, you know, he's like very charming, you know, he's a great character.
Yeah, I love how he always tries to like justify his existence, not in a bad way, but like whenever anything happens and like you're becoming really self-sufficient, or Jade, he always throws out like, yeah, this place would be falling apart without me, and then like something breaks anyway. Like he it's not even like, I'm not trying to insult him, God forbid, but
He's trying to justify his existence as a sidekick.
yeah, as a sidekick, he's a sidekick, and I don't think he wants to admit that.
Yeah.
I like how he added to the gameplay a little bit too.
Yeah.
'cause
Those boots?
Yeah, like he's got his rocket boots and he butt stomps on
Those
them.
boots, those boots run on farts, don't they?
Yeah,
That's
the
kind
gas.
of
Pretty sure.
what they were inferring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I love the way he talks, like some of his old-timey expressions. Like when you go to push that cart and it's too heavy, and he's like, "Whoa, hold your horses, you'll bust a gut." And
Yeah.
he runs
Yeah.
over to help you.
Almost a little
You know?
space westerny.
Yeah.
Yes.
In that the way he's talking.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm really surprised how funny the game is, because I wasn't expecting it to have that playful banter. So I really like the whole dynamic between the two characters. But my favorite part is actually taking photos. I'm a photographer.
Honestly, if there were limitless animals in that opening island, I'd
Yeah,
still be
I'd just
there.
be-
like
yeah.
I wouldn't even be in this room.
Well,
I
the
wouldn't
thing
have
is,
left my
like,
house.
I spent so much time trying to get a better shot, not just getting it in focus, but
Yeah.
getting it like nice composition. And then I'm like, oh, you don't care.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
like
I-
you're not gonna give me more points for like
And
if
it-
it's framed right or if I follow the rule of thirds.
Right, it's like, exactly. I was walking
Beautiful
through.
composition.
It's like
Double
the first-
points.
The first fly you see, it's like you take a picture, you're like, okay, sweet. And you walk into another room, it's like, oh, another fly. And I'm like, I'm gonna take it. I'm like, oh, it's the same one. So like everything I see that moves, I'm like, picture. And
Yeah, did you try to take a picture of the moss in the first dungeon?
I did. I was aiming at it. I'm like,
is this
nothing's
real?
happening.
Yeah.
Is this real life?
so I kind of like that mechanic because you make money off of it and it adds to your inventory. So you know, there's a reason to do it. It's not just.
And there are
kinda-
so many games this generation that have kind of borrowed that idea. I mean, you have BioShock and you have Dead Rising.
Yeah.
Both doing like the same kind of thing where they're like, hey, that's a cool side mechanic you can do that doesn't sacrifice anything else from the game. Though it is every time I enter like a room and there's like a giant enemy about to attack me,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just like,
just
hold
click
on!
I know.
Yeah.
I need to
The
take a
boss fight was
picture.
interesting because I'm like, no, need to get the picture first.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it almost. I mean, Metroid Prime sort of did that same thing, where it's like you scan them. Except it's so fulfilling when you find like another thing to take a picture of.
yeah. What did you like?
I loved the Rastafarian rhinoceroses.
I was like, oh, this game is a little casually racist.
yeah, owning their own repair depot. Like the song they're singing, like it's casual racism. I'm not going to pretend that I'm above laughing at casual racism in a video game.
Broad characterization.
Yeah, broad characterization.
It took me a while to figure out what exactly was happening. Like when that happened, I was like, "Are these rhinos,
Rhinos with
Jamaican?"
They sure are.
They are. Yeah.
accent.
Oh, I loved it so much, and I was just sitting there giggling the entire time, just like they're Jamaican rhinoceri. I'm guessing that's rhinoceri.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I didn't think this game would be that funny. Like I knew
Sure.
it was good with like great storytelling and like just a great concept. But yeah, I'm really surprised, and I'm kind of sad I didn't go back and play
Yeah.
it.
So I've one. I was instead of like each person, I just want to know, what does everyone in general think of Jade so far? The character of Jade. I mean, we've already agreed unanimously that Paige is just great. Jade is sort of held up to a standard
yeah,
as
she's one of those
top gaming characters, and also like, oh, she's a realistic representation of a woman. Like, what do you think of her character so far? I mean, I know it's early.
Yeah, I like
But-
her. I think she's strong, she's tough, and it's not like They're not using a lot of stereotypes like, oh, you know, whatever, for whatever reason, like why she's tough. I guess you don't learn that until maybe later.
Yeah.
But no, she's like a solid character. It seems like she has a lot of compassion for all the other kitties that are in that area. And I like it. And
They never explain who watches them when you leave. I just realized that. You just
I'm
leave.
sure there's like an older bunny rabbit person that's watching over them all. But no, I really like her, and she.
They're on an island. They
Fine. Comes back. I have the conch shell now.
and she's got cool moves. It's like
Yeah.
I was surprised at the combat. It's so fluid and stuff. And I'm
Doing,
like,
like,
oh, she's
flip
doing.
kicks
I
and
know.
stuff.
I was like, oh, she's fancy. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed. I like it.
a lot of the time in culture too, like people kind of point to strong female characters, but they're just like really violent, and they're not like super strong in any
She's
other
smart.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she is I mean, she gets violence at times, but she's also kind of like strong-willed. She can kind of solve her own problems and all of that.
And it doesn't, like, at first it almost felt like, oh, Paige is going to come in and solve every problem for her, but it almost is more like she's using her friend to solve these problems and letting him think that he's
doing it.
And I love how, like, he'll constantly just be like, come on, little girl, and she'll just be like, all right, you old fart. Like, it's not like there's like a constant him talking down. Like, it's them talking down to each other in a charming way.
Well, they kind of established her as the hero, like, right at the start, because those alien Doms?
Zoms?
Well, yeah.
I think it's Doms.
It's
Yeah.
Doms, yeah.
They come crashing down, and then they capture all the kitties, and it's like, oh no, what am I
we
going
gonna
to
do?
do?
And then she straight up sonics them and kills the robots so the kids can jump
And
away.
at that point,
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was combat in there.
Great tutorial.
Where's my
Am I
camera?
supposed to take a picture of these, and somehow the Flash destroys these things? Like, she busts out a stick, starts kicking them, doing backflips and stuff. So,
Yeah.
she's awesome.
Yeah, I think, so far, I'm really interested to see how she evolves as a character, but so far I'm pleasantly surprised by her.
She's also like very, I want to say like naive and innocent in a sense, because she really believes in the alpha, what the alpha is, I guess.
Like the government organization.
government, they're trying to help.
They're actually they're like an army.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Helio or whatever.
Sure,
it's
yeah.
its own separate thing, and the alphas came in to fight the Dormos or whatever. The Doms, yeah.
We're getting all the terms mixed up. That's the thing with sci-fi stuff. It's like, what are they called again?
Was it the Dormos?
Are we on the Hillis or wherever the world is called?
Pleiadians?
But I like the relationship too between Paige and her, because he's very jaded, and he is always kind of saying like, "Oh, this place is falling apart. Like these alphas are no good or whatever," and she's always like defending it
counter.
or kind
Or
of
even just giving
it.
she's like giving things the benefit of the doubt
Yeah.
instead of being naive, I'd say. She's almost just more of an
Hopeful,
optimist.
yeah.
So I've noticed that there were some elements of the game that, for the most part, it feels very, I don't want to say current, it's sort of current gen, like very forward thinking for its time, but there are some things even already, like the combat's fun, but it literally is just one button combos with
I'm okay with
no
that.
depth. I'm just wondering, do you think that you're going to start feeling like the scars of the last gen game? Or do you think, like, are you worried at all about the game mechanics starting to feel dated?
From what I've played, I don't feel like it's very dated. Everything's very responsive. It's even the world itself. I mean, yeah, it's an HD remake. It's just shinier than what it used to be.
Super shiny.
I really like it. I think it's something that if it came out today, maybe with like a few polishes and like changes and stuff, I think it would still hold up. Like I think it's holding up really well for me.
For me, it feels a little clunky.
We were talking earlier, like the voice acting doesn't sync up perfectly, not just with what they're saying, but like I don't know if it could have just been my game, but like the captions at the bottom of the screen feel like they're on like a 10-second delay. And it's just like little things that like I take for granted that they have fixed this generation.
I think the combat so far isn't bothering me, that it's one button. I feel like maybe down the line we'll see, depending on what they add to it. I'm expecting that they'll add more elements to the combat. The things to me that I don't want to have to do too much of are things where, like, when you have Paige do the rocket boot thing and he knocks something up into the air and then you have to hit it, like it felt annoying to have to like keep lining things up.
Like
and
you're
stuff
hoping
like
it's not going to be like the game's crutch.
Yeah,
sort of.
like that I think I would get sick of quicker than I would the one-button combats, because I like how fluid it is. I like how I can press a direction and she'll hit that direction really smoothly, and it's high quality animation.
There was a part in the first dungeon when I was trying to get him to do like a super jump so I could hit one of those like gas bag exploding things, whatever they are.
That's a technical name.
Yeah. and he just like wouldn't go near it. Like he couldn't like fit through the hallway or something, and so he was like just over in like by that fence area, and I'm like trying to get him to do it. He's like, no, I'm not going to do it. Like he literally said, I'm not going to do this. You know, and I'm like, come on, do it. And I was like trying to like move and like get him to follow me a little bit.
I think I know that part. It's just like you're supposed to do something else there.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to pull a switch, even though it seems like you could get him to do it for you.
No, you're supposed to make him pop it up, and then you're supposed to hit it at a stack of explosives.
Oh, okay.
And that makes that bridge go down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
see. So yeah, it's very kind of linear. It's directing you to exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You're like, no, get over here. Why aren't you coming here?
Yeah, I thought the controls are a little bit clunky. Well, I'm playing it on PC because I downloaded it on Steam when it was like $2.
Same here.
So like,
Yeah, the day we announced the game club, it went on sale for like $2. And
Yeah.
like, everyone in the office was like, "Oh God, we have to play this right now."
So I totally bought it with 5 hours left. But just using the WASD like controls is a little bit clunky for me, and one button combat's okay as long as I think it's cool that every direction you press, she does something different. If you press back while she's facing forward, she'll do like a backflip thing and kick. It's
very
pretty cool.
smooth.
Yeah, it works pretty well even for like this old of a game.
Yeah.
So.
So
I'm playing the console version, the Xbox 360 HD remake, and I still don't feel like like when I press the control stick, it feels like they don't really like respond as fast. And it also seems like they only have like a certain amount of directions that they can go. Like they can only go like diagonal and then like straight.
yeah, I'm curious to see how that like continues to play out. I'm wondering if that's just like an early game kind of.
No, I just think it's kind of like a limitation
Oh,
of
okay,
back
yeah,
then.
maybe.
And so now we're kind of used to like people just being able to move like as many degrees as they need
Sure,
to.
yeah.
And so that's kind of like one of those scars we were talking about from
yeah.
past generations.
Cool. So that's it for episode 1. If you're going to continue to play with us, by the end of next week, we're hoping to have all beaten, I think it's the factory. So once you finish the factory, that's when you should stop, and that's where we're all going to be discussing it. And you can actually check out the full schedule and tons more details and some videos and stuff on GamesRadar.com/gameclub. So yeah, that's it, and we hope you enjoy playing the game with us.